This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I am your host. I am your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 11 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates and satellite programming providers right around this great little world of ours. If you'd like to send an email, studio@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our website. Yep, you've got it, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My first guest tonight, X-Zone Nation, is Melissa Alvarez. She is a best-selling, award-winning author who has written 10 books and nearly 500 articles on self-help, spirituality, and wellness. As a professional intuitive coach, energy worker, spiritual advisor, medium, and animal communicator with over 25 years' experience, Melissa has helped thousands of people bring clarity, joy, and balance into their lives. Melissa teaches others to connect with their own intuitive nature, spirituality, and how to work with frequency for spiritual growth. She has appeared on numerous radio shows as both a guest and host. Melissa is the author of 365 Ways to Raise Your Frequency, Yourself Psychic, and Animal Frequency. Melissa's books have been translated into Romanian, Russian, Chinese, French, and Czech. She lives in South Florida with her family, dogs, and horses. Her website is melissa.a.com, or you can check out animalfrequency.com. And Melissa, welcome to the X-Zone.
Welcome, thank you. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
So tell me, Melissa, how did you get involved in the world of frequencies, the world of psychic phenomenon, the world of animals, and the world on how to teach people how to raise their frequencies?
Well, the animal part is easy. I've always been, had animals drawn to me ever since I was a kid. I've always felt a connection with animals, and they tend to follow me around. So that's the animal part. As far as the intuitive stuff, I was sick when I was in 8th grade, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And for 2 weeks, I couldn't really lift my head off of the bed, and I got a really bad headache. And after all of that happened, I started knowing things before they would happen. I would get insights into situations that sometimes I didn't even really want to know. And from there, it progressed. And I didn't like having abilities. I didn't know how to handle them. I didn't have anyone that could teach me what was going on. So I pretty much just kind of pushed it to the background. And finally, when I decided, okay, this is never going to go away, I just have to accept that this is part of me and I need to learn how to deal with it. Once I did that, everything in my life seemed to move easier. It flowed better.
Yeah.
And because I never had anyone to teach me, I decided to teach others.
One thing I have learned in life, my dear, is that when you are put on this planet for a specific path, once you get on that path,
True.
if you try to get off it, some force kind of knocks you down until you realize that, oops, I got to get back to doing what I was doing.
That's exactly right. And that's what happened to me. And finally I just said, okay, what do I do with this? So, now I try through my books to teach others, through workshops I try to teach others, or, doing one-on-one kind of readings or anything. I've tend to gone away from that a little bit now, though, because I feel like I can reach more people through my books.
And that's what this whole life is about, helping people. And,
True.
once again, we see more and more people reaching out to help other people these days because not only is the light coming on, but the true essence of humanity is starting to sink in. You and I have to take a short break. Melissa, please stand by. Great having you with us. Exonation.
Thank you.
Melissa Alvarez is our very special guest this hour. www.melissaa.com and animalfrequency.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Hey, don't forget, Exonation, if you would like to be a part of UFO history, be part of the CubeSat, CubeSat for Disclosure, a satellite looking for UFOs in close Earth orbit. You want to be part? Just go to www.cubesat.tech. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience Journey Trance, Power Animals, Helping Spirits, Sacred Space, and Life Purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
Exonation, Melissa Alvarez is our guest of this hour, www.melissa.a.com and animalfrequency.com. And Melissa, could you tell us about your path to becoming a published author?
Sure. It all started in 2000 when I wrote my first book. It was a diet and exercise guide, and I had been going to the gym, and I was using my guide, and other people wanted it. So I decided I would publish it myself, and I ended up manufacturing the book in my house, which was very eye-opening. And then in 2000, 2002, I expanded my self-publishing to include other authors. And I started my company, New Age Dimensions. I had that company. We had 70 authors and over 100 titles released. But then we had a hurricane come through South Florida, and when that happened, I ended up having to close the company.
Oh, no.
After that, I focused on my writing, and I ended up submitting to Llewellyn, and now I have multiple books coming out with them.
How does your book relate to your spiritual life path?
Well, the book that I'm mainly going to focus on during our interview is Animal Frequency,
Okay.
But all of my books tend to fit my life path because they're teaching other people about their own intuition, their own spirituality. 365 Ways to Raise Your Frequency has 365 exercises that people can do either one every day of the year in order to elevate their own personal vibration, their own energy, to get it to higher levels. Your Psychic Self teaches people to recognize and embrace their own intuition. And then Animal Frequency, it teaches you to connect to the energy of animals and to kind of merge your energy, your frequency with their frequency in order to receive the messages that they're trying to get to you, usually on a daily basis.
All right, so let's talk about your book, Animal Frequency. Tell us about that, where the concept for the book came out, and what the experiences that you yourself as the author had in order to come up with this idea.
Well, I was just in the barn one day, and you get a lot of ideas mucking stalls.
I guess.
And I was thinking about, my horses and how I am able to connect with the horses and communicate with them. And I'm like, this would be cool if I could come up with a book that would teach other people to do this the way that I do it. There's a lot of books out about animal totems, and there's a lot of books out about animal communication. But my book really takes it to the next level because it's more than animal communication. It's connecting your energy to the energy of the animal so that it's like you're at one with their energy. So that's how the idea came about, and I pitched it to Llewellyn and asked them if they were interested in anything like that, and they were, so we moved forward with the idea.
So it almost sounds as if that scene in Avatar when he takes that his can I call it ponytail, for lack of words, and does a physical connection with the flying dragon.
Right. Yeah, it's similar to that.
Okay.
I tried to remember the exact scene that you're speaking about. It's been a long time since I saw Avatar, but it's feeling the energy of the animal. So, for example, when I train horses, I train the horses by sending them pictures and sending them words and ideas of what I would like for them to do. Animals connect more if you send them telepathically a picture, they get that faster than if you say, I want you to move in a circle. That's not going to work as good as if you send a picture of them moving in the circle, of actually doing what you're asking them to do. Well, with Animal Frequency, you're doing that, but you're sending your energy towards their energy, and you're connecting with them on a more spiritual basis and feeling, like you feel yourself moving the circle with them. That helps them in the training, and it allows you to get a deeper connection with the animal. And then you'll pick up messages that they're sending, and they may be like, I don't want to do this today, or you'll get a feeling if they're tired, or they just, are trying to please you. Whatever they're feeling or thinking about, you'll pick that up.
So what I gather from what you're saying is that all animals are very psychic. They're very perceptive.
Oh, yes, for sure. They're very intuitive.
So does this only work with people who work around animals, who work with animals like yourself?
No, anyone can do this. Anyone can. For example, say if you had an animal that started appearing to you, and every time you turned around, you turn on the TV, there's the animal. You're driving down the road, you see the animal. Maybe it's a type of bird.
Right.
But the animal keeps appearing to you. Well, that animal has a message that is trying to relate to you on a spiritual level, because it wants, whatever the message is probably something you need to know. For example, when I was writing Animal Frequency, one of the interesting things that happened is every animal under the sun seemed to come to my farm.
Wow.
And I had an alligator in the canal for 2 weeks, and I had hawks come by. There were snakes, there was rats, dragonflies everywhere, and I'm just like, okay, that was a lot of fun to meet all those animals. And it was strange, though, because I felt like they were trying to give me specific messages that they wanted me to put in the book, because they just stare at you. They look you in the eyes, and they make that contact with you so that you really are paying attention to what the message is.
But how much of this is actually just coincidence?
Well, I mean, you could say any of it's coincidence, but if it's happening over and over and over, you gotta pay attention to what's happening. For example, when that alligator was in the canal, I've lived here for 9 years. I've never had an alligator stay in the canal for 2 weeks, and it was, facing the direction of my barn.
Ouch.
And I kept thinking, and I would try to send my energy to the alligator. I'm like, well, what's the message that you're trying to tell me?
It's hungry,
and it was all about being creative. No, not hungry. I got worried about that, though, because I had foals here, and I'm like, you really don't need to be here, because I'm afraid, because alligators can climb a fence. So, and with that particular animal, I actually called the alligator guys and said, hey, can you take him out of here? And as soon as I called them, they showed up and looked at him. He was gone the next day. They didn't remove him, but he left.
Unreal.
But I had been asking him to leave for a while, and he hadn't gone. So I guess I hadn't received the full message yet.
All right, so here was this alligator who obviously had a message for you. What do you think that message was? And how do you determine what message is for you from what animal?
Well, you'll get a feeling of what that message is. Like I kept getting like images of creativity, being creative with the alligator. Don't be aggressive,
right.
Even though an alligator can be very aggressive, I kept sensing that about that particular alligator. And one of the things that I was trying to do with my book is to give people a creative way to connect with their energy. I call them energy animals. To connect with them by offering a section in the book that's an imagery section that gives a scene that when the people read the scene, that they can get a deeper connection with the animal. For instance, like I give them an example of how the animal might appear to them.
Okay.
So that particular alligator was telling me to be creative when I'm writing my book, but don't be too forceful in what I'm saying. Don't be aggressive with what I'm trying to get across, because that's not the correct way to do it. Does that make sense?
It does. For example, we have 3 little dogs. I love animals. I have been an animal lover for as long as I can remember. And there's no secret that I believe that animals can communicate with you. I can see it with my own 3, and I've done work for the SPCA in communications. I've seen the communication between an inspector and an animal that is being mistreated. You can see the love automatically when the animal realizes that this inspector is here to help them. But I've never taken it that next step where an animal may be a totem. So how do I understand, or how do I know what my totem is?
What is okay, so with energy animals or totems, it's not necessarily the animal that you're drawn to, that you like yourself. It may be something completely different, and you may have different animals that appear during different situations. Oh. So, for instance, maybe you're going through a difficult situation, and you keep seeing a grasshopper or a dragonfly or an ant. I have a perfect example. Here's a great example.
All right.
So recently, I have a lot of irons in the fire. And the other day, I don't like to kill animals, or to even little animals like lizards. So I was driving down the road, and I noticed that there's a little lizard sitting on the hood of my car. And I'm like, what are you doing there? So I stopped, and I get out of the car, and I tried to get the lizard off the car. Well, the lizard jumps on me, and I'm like, okay, come back here, and he runs across, like, where my neck is, and then he runs around to the middle of my back. Well, now I know the lizard's still on me, but I can't get him off. So I'm standing outside of the car, looking in the windows, trying to see where the lizard is. I end up twisting my shirt all the way around. I get him, and he jumps across, runs across me again, and goes back to the center of my back. And I'm like, okay, this is just hilarious, this guy. So I turn him around again, and I finally knocked him off onto the ground. Well, he stopped right in front of my tire. And I'm like, you can't be there because, I'm going to run over you if you're there. So I tried to kick him out of the way, right?
Yeah.
So this little guy jumps on my foot. And I'm like, you can't be here either. So I finally get the lizard put away. So later that day, I'm driving back from wherever I was, and there's an ant on my arm. And I don't know how that ant got on me. He must have been on me before because there's not ants in the car. So I go to brush him away, and he moved over to another part of my arm, and then he did it again. And I was actually on the phone with my friend Sally, and she's like, well, these guys are giving you messages, right? Because I had just finished telling her about the lizard. So basically what we decided between our discussion was that the lizard is telling me that I need to take more time, for myself, and to spend a little more time instead of working so much. I need to spend a little time to myself, where the ant was showing me how much I work and how hard I work, but lizards eat ants. So the lizard is telling me, take time for yourself, don't work quite as hard. So that was the message from those two animals that day. And once I looked at it from that perspective, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it now. I have been working too hard. I do need to take a little bit of a break.
You see, I've got a different solution for your lizard. Your little lizard. He wanted you to change your auto insurance to Geico. Anyway, you and I have to take a break. Please stand by. Stand by. Exonation. Melissa Alvarez is our special guest. Two websites, melissaa.com and animalfrequency.com. We'll be back talking more about energy animals, locusts and ants included, as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Want to be part of UFO history? Go to www. You got that part? I'm sure you have. CubeSat4Disclosure.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network. Check out all the great programming that the X Zone has for you at www.xzbn.net. Melissa Alvarez is our guest, melissa.a.com and animalfrequency.com. Melissa, I've had guests on in the past who were, I would imagine we can call them the traditional First Nation shamans, and they talk about different totems. You know, the bear, the eagle. Where does the concept of animal totems originate?
I would think it would probably have been with the original shamans. I don't know exactly where it originated from, but it's been around for a very long time.
All right, so what else can you teach us about your book? And what else can you teach us about the different animal energies that you're talking about and what they mean to those who actually see them and recognize it as more than a coincidence?
Well, about the book, I can tell you a little more about that to start with. The way that the book is set up, it tells you, like, the traits of the animal. Like, for instance, if you're talking about a bear, how a bear symbolizes, strength and a gentle nature. But it also means that sometimes you need time away from others, if bears showing up to you quite a bit. And then within the book, I also tell the talents and the challenges of the animals so that it's broken down into specific sections. For example, a talent of the bear is that he's very agile. He can move faster than people actually think he might move because of the way he's built. Mm-hmm. But some of the challenges of a bear is, losing sight of your inner truth or being too rigid or too stubborn. And then I also tell, what elements the animal is associated with, the primary colors associated with it, what it means when it does appear to you, and how it can help you. And then I give a brief description of how I feel the animal's frequency feels. Like to me, and what I put in the book is like the bear's frequency. It sounds like a deep rumbling. It's powerful and steady, but it has a little bit of a shakiness to it. It feels warm and soft, but it can also feel a little prickly and sticky too. And then at the end of each entry, I also give an imagine section, which is imagery that helps the person connect to the energy of the animal.
Okay.
And then I forgot what the rest of your question was. I'm sorry.
No, I was asking about the totems, the energy animals, and what each would represent. For example, dogs. If somebody sees a dog on a basis that is more than just coincidence, and they say, you know what, this must be my totem. This animal is trying to give me a message. What would that message be, based on your research?
Well, with a dog, it's really to be, maybe you've been too withdrawn into yourself, and maybe it's to be more outgoing and more friendly. Because, dogs are very outgoing and friendly. Mm-hmm. But dogs can also have that side of themselves that's, they want to protect themselves. They're pack animals, so, they protect the ones that they love. So you got to really look at what situation you're in and how dog applies to that situation. So if you've been in a situation where you've been too shy, too withdrawn, maybe you need to now, be a little more outgoing, connect with people, be a little bit more social. Or on the other hand, if you've been being aggressive or ill-tempered, then dog may be showing you, hey, you're showing your aggressive side and you need to calm that down a little bit. So you got to look at kind of the positive and the negative traits, the challenges, I call them, of the animal when it appears to you, and see how those apply to your situation, because each situation is going to be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So that's how I would interpret a dog if it showed up to me. I'd be like, okay, am I in a bad mood all the time? Am I being too aggressive with people? If so, I need to ease up. Or I need to be more social.
But what happens if a person is not an animal lover and they really don't take note that these animals are popping up all the time?
When an animal's trying to get a message to you, mm-hmm. they will keep appearing until you do take note. So the person doesn't have to be an animal lover to all of a sudden they're seeing iguanas everywhere they turn, or they're seeing butterflies everywhere they turn. It'll happen enough times that you wonder, okay, wait a minute, I'm seeing this all the time. What does this mean? And then usually what happens is the person will start to investigate mm-hmm. about that animal, look it up online to see, what does it mean, or they'll get books about animal totems to find out what that meaning is. Because it kind of makes an impression on you at a soul level. It's really connecting to your soul to tell you, wait a minute, there's something else going on here other than just this animal showing up.
But what about people who live in the metropolis, downtown, deep in the city? What kind of animals can they see?
There's still animals there. I mean, I'm in South Florida, and this is it's city, but I still see animals. I mean, we have red-tailed hawks down here all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can go down to West Palm Beach downtown, you'll still see the hawks, you'll still see animals. You're still going to see ants, you'll see dogs, you'll see cats, you'll see, there's zoos, and you could go to.
Yeah, well, wait a sec. Hold on here.
In person. They can be on the TV or in a book or in a magazine ad. That spiritually, they will find a way to connect to you to make you notice them if they have a message.
All right, hold on. I can, you're talking about going to a zoo. Of course you're going to see animals. You're going to a zoo.
Of course.
Okay, but
That's right.
how can you actually correlate pictures in a magazine to this animal having a message for you? Like, how do you do that?
Because so when your totem is showing up, or when your energy animal is showing up, it has a message for you. It doesn't have to fly in your face and land on your nose, if like a dragonfly might, to get your attention. You might see it in a TV commercial. What it's doing is the animal energy is trying to get your attention. So if you think of an energy animal as a spirit guide, like a normal spirit guide would be,
right?
You don't see your spirit guide standing right in front of you, but you may see words that pop up. Like if you're reading something, some words stand out to you that could be a message from your guides. Or like angels, if people are talking about angels, they may find feathers, or people who have passed on, they may find pennies. It's the same kind of situation with animals. They don't have to be right in front of you to give you a message. They can make you notice their energy by, having images of them pop up in different places. It's just enough so that you recognize them and notice them.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong. In order for you to understand what your animal totem is, or your energy animal is, you must have some sort of belief in totems and the power of animals. Am I right?
Well, yeah, probably. Most people do, but that's not to say that you absolutely have to. I mean, somebody who has no belief in anything metaphysical, if they see an animal enough, it could be enough to get them to start researching it to find out why they keep seeing this animal over and over.
It could. And that's
it could. But see, I believe everybody has some intuition. Everybody is intuitive. It depends on whether or not they decide they want to act on their intuition or not.
I agree with...
So if you go off the basis...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I agree with you 100%, because I don't know one mom or dad listening to us around the world tonight who has not had a gut feeling that something is wrong with one of their kids. I don't know one cop, and being an ex-cop, I know this for a fact. I don't know any cop that has never had that gut feeling that something is wrong. There's something about this guy or this gal that just isn't right.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in intuition.
Yeah, and I totally believe that everybody is intuitive. So if you go off the basis that everybody has some kind of intuition, I mean, on a soul level, we are all made of energy.
Right.
And we're connecting to our soul energy when we use our intuition. I mean, we're connecting to how we are spiritually. So if we're connecting to that energy part of ourself, our own frequency, and we see this animal on a commercial or in a book or flying by or wherever they happen to be, and it's enough for us to take notice, then human nature is you're going to think, well, wait a minute, why is this happening? Why do I keep seeing this? And it's kind of like a gut feeling that there's more here than what I'm actually looking at. So do I investigate further? Do I find out more? Or do I just say, it's a bird, whatever? It depends on each individual person.
It's a turkey.
A lot of people will research it.
Oh, yeah, that's a real turkey. Now it's Thanksgiving dinner. Listen, how do you deal with skepticism? Because I'm sure you get some people who look at you as if you have 3 heads, 18 eyes, and 27 arms.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with that my whole life, and, I just can only tell you what I believe, and I can only say what I sense and what I feel. There's been plenty of times that I get impressions for people, and it's like, do you tell them or do you don't? Because, I never know how somebody's going to take it. And there's been times when I've said, you know what, the message has been so strong that I just go to I've gone to a person before, and here's an example. I was in line at the grocery store, and I kept hearing somebody say, tell that lady Mary's okay. tell that lady Mary's okay. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that. Because I really felt, you really don't want to put yourself out there like that. But the message was so strong, I just went up to the lady and I said, look, you're going to think I'm nuts, and I'm okay with that, but I have to deliver this message to you. And I told her the message. The lady breaks down crying and hugs me because Mary was her daughter who had passed away.
Oh, my heavens.
So when something like that happens, then it's okay. I don't care if people think I'm a nut, because that one person was helped from the message that I received. And we all have different paths that we have to walk.
Sure.
We all have different reasons for being on this earth. We all have different lessons to learn. And, if somebody's skeptical of this, then that's their lesson this lifetime. If they're not, then, they're open to what I may have to say. But, it's fine with me for people to be skeptical. I'm skeptical about things, and I think you really have to be in order to be able to see truth versus you can't just always say, oh, this is paranormal, or oh, this is a ghost, or oh, this is whatever, because it may not be. It may just be the tin clanking around on the outside of the barn, you know what I mean? So you got to look for logical reasons first, I think, before you put it to paranormal. But when you have intuition that's that strong, you really can't ignore it. At least I don't think you can.
I agree with you once again. Listen, you and I have to take our final break for this hour. X-Zone Nation. Melissa Alvarez is our special guest. www.melissa.com and animalfrequency.com. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, X-Zone Nation, if you would like to be part of UFO disclosure history, www.cubesat.tech. I'll be back on the other side of this break with my special guest. Don't go away.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X-Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randle. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back, everyone. Melissa Alvarez is our special guest. www.melissaa.com and animalfrequency.com. And speaking about animals, I understand you have an animal frequency oracle card set.
I sure do. I've got the design ready to go. I actually put the cards. Well, the way the idea came about for the cards is because I'm doing the animal frequency book with Llewellyn. And I really wanted to have oracle cards that people could carry around with them, and they could do readings with the cards based on the animals that were in the book.
Right.
So I created a 44-card deck that has meanings of the animals on the bottom of the deck, and then it has a picture of the animal, but the picture has been enhanced to show what I feel is the energy of the animal coming through, so that you get, it's not just a picture of an eagle, it's an energized picture of the eagle. So you can do readings with the card. You can do a 3-card draw or a 5-card draw, whatever you would like. I mean, any of the standard tarot card, spreads you can do with the animal frequency cards. I do have them ready. I'm doing a short-term print run of 250 decks. With these 250 decks, they're going to be signed by me, and they're numbered between 1 and 250. So I've already sold the first deck. I had a girl that she was, when are you going to have them ready? When are you going to have them ready? And she bought them right away. So the first deck is gone. So decks 2 through 250 are still available for pre-order at animalfrequency.com. The cards are going to ship on March 8th, 2017. That's the same day that Animal Frequency is going to release. So I'm releasing, Llewellyn's releasing the book, and I'm releasing the cards on the same day. So whoever, if you want to buy the book, then you can also buy the cards to go with the book, and vice versa. But they came out extremely well, and I have to thank all the photographers who gave me permission to use the pictures that they had taken of the animals. I really appreciate them letting me do that. And that's what they are. They're nice cards, and they're going to come in the beautiful little tin box with a window in the front, so you don't have to buy a bag or anything to carry them in. They'll already have a case with it.
So as long as you use the Animal Frequency Oracle cards, you'll always be playing with a full deck.
That's right.
Okay. So tell me, where did your interest in reading cards come from? I knew you were psychic. I knew that you were very intuitive when it came to animals. But tarot reading as well?
Well, I mean, I don't specialize in tarot readings. I leave that to the people who do the tarot readings with the tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in college, I bought my first deck of tarot cards, and I like doing readings with them. I don't do readings for other people with them anymore. But I've always liked having cards, if I have a situation and I'm like, well, I can't really decide, or if I'm not trusting my own intuition, which happens, then I'll say, okay, guys, show me through this deck, what I need to know. And then I'll just reach in, pick out a card, and see how it fits. I tend to, for myself, do 1-card readings just for confirmation of what my intuition is telling me. But you can get really good readings with, tarot cards or any other oracle card decks. I think they're very helpful. I just don't specifically do readings with them anymore. I used to, but not anymore.
Do you know what I use for my reading, my personal readings?
What?
I use a quarter. Heads, it's yes. Tails, it's no. Yeah. The only time I use cards is playing euchre, blackjack, or poker.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
So what's in the future for you?
Go ahead.
I said, what's in the future for you? Like, you're a busy lady. You said you had a lot of pokers in the fire.
I am. Well, I have Animal Frequency is coming out with Llewellyn, and then I have 3 more books after that one. So between January of 2017 and March of 2018, I'll have 4 books coming out with Llewellyn.
Wow.
I also have another book that I'm. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I thought you asked me something.
No, must have been an
I
animal.
also have another book that I've got planned. That's far away though. It's about 2 years out. So we'll see what happens with that one. And then, I just keep busy with my family, and we breed horses. We breed Baroque Pintos. So I've got 3 foals coming in the spring, so I'll be busy with that. Just staying busy and writing and, trying to help people whenever I can, understand their intuition and how to connect to their own spirituality and, how they can connect to the frequency of animals. I think, animal communication and animal frequency is an important thing. And I think the more people would do it, the better it is, for the animals, first of all, because it gives people a newfound respect for animals, and it gives people the ability to connect spiritually through frequency with animals to receive the messages that they're trying to send to us.
How would you describe receiving frequency from an animal to a person who has never heard about the world of metaphysics?
I would describe it as it feels like it feels like a spark from your heart to theirs. It feels like a lifeline, maybe a thunderbolt between your heart to theirs. It's very strong. It's very positive, and it's a deep connection. I remember once when one of my dogs got lost for 2 weeks, and we lived way out in the country, and I didn't think I'd ever see that dog again. And when he showed up, I just grabbed him and hugged him, and the connection was just so intense and so strong that it was like nothing I had ever experienced before. And I think that was really my first time with connecting at that higher level of energy, of animal frequency. And it was something I never forgot. So when I started writing this book, that was the one time that I went back to time and time again of how it felt to me with him and how I was trying to describe it to help other people feel that connection. It's just very strong. It's very emotional. It's very intense. And it leaves you with a feeling of positivity and happiness and joy that you otherwise may not have felt without that connection.
People who have no animals in their lives, I feel very sorry for them. I really do.
I know, me too.
Because I've got these 3 little girls. My wife and I call them our girls. Like, we've got 6 grown-up children. We have 9 grandchildren. The nest is empty except for our 3 little girls. And they are so individualized. For example, whenever I bring Lola to the office, she's the baby. She's a baby Shih Tzu. She's not a baby anymore. She's 3 years old. She has her spot. I have a pillow for her in the office, and that's where she sleeps. When I get home at night, no matter what time I get home, Nikita, that is a cross between an Lhasa Apso and a poodle, she'll wake up, she'll come over, and she'll pay attention to me. Maddie, our eldest dog, she is the mother figure of the house. She is the protector of the house, and she is very empathic with my wife. If my wife is not feeling well, she sticks right by Laura, and she is the guardian of the house. So I feel very bad for people who have no idea what joy and what connection we actually have with animals on this great planet of ours. And I have no use whatsoever for anyone who abuses animals. I think they're the scum of the earth.
You or me either. I'm right there with you on that. I've had personal experience with, people, that we had here working at our barn that didn't treat my horses the way I expected them to be treated, and I let them go after they got a piece of my mind. But,
Good for you.
And I agree with you, and I wish that everybody, even if they can't have a pet of their own, they at least try to connect with animals in some way, or just to get the experience. Because it's a shame that if someone cannot ever, feel the love an animal has to give to someone, because they really are full of love and positivity. There's no. The only time there's bad in an animal is if a person puts it in there.
Exactly.
And, when you mistreat them and you abuse them, that's not the animal's fault if they have issues after that, because we shouldn't treat them that way. And that's why, anytime anyone can adopt an animal or rescue an animal, that's such a great thing to do. And it helps the animal, because you never know what a difference you could make in some animal's life.
That
if
is
you just
true.
Give them a chance.
That is true. But you must
and they
make
can make
sure.
a difference in yours too.
You must make sure that you have the financial ability to take care of this animal. Make sure the animal gets the proper
That's exactly
food.
right.
Make sure the animal gets the proper care. That the vaccinations are all in place. Because when you bring an animal into your home, the way I look at it, you're bringing a new member of your family into the home. Melissa, unfortunately, you and I have run out of time for tonight. I wish you much success, young lady. I love the way you think. I love the fact that you love animals.
Thank you so much.
And I look forward to the next time you and I meet back here in the X Zone. Until then, take care of yourself, my new friend.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate the opportunity.
My great pleasure. X Zone Nation, our guest this hour has been Melissa Alvarez. Now, once again, here's 2 websites, www.melissa.a.com and animalfrequency.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the shores of Lake Ontario in between Toronto and Niagara Falls, Ontario, and Niagara Falls, New York, right on the QEW. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Whatever you do, do not go away.